failed to connect with Facebook.
Haven't done it for a little while, so.
Okay, we're live on YouTube. I don't know why we're not live on Facebook. Let me see if I can figure out why while I'm at it.
Give us just 1 minute for technical difficulties.
Now we're broadcasting. I guess the stream key changed. Here we are. Okay. Okay, so we're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube, and we're not going to do any Instagram things right now.
Got quite a bit of comments already.
Wow, Casey's here. Expect the unexpected. Hello, Casey. Mr. UFO Guy says greetings. Casey says, how are you too?
We're terrible.
We're actually a lot better than we were, right? We've been going through a roller coaster. Herman says, I'll mention a little more, we'll talk more about that, but I want to catch up with the comments first. But Herman Ahunmada says hello. Hello to you. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your pronunciation of your name there. Casey says, they've been served. Yes, we have been served with a...
Why don't you get through the comments first before we go into that?
Okay. I see EDA. I know who that is now by other names. Hello. RTT says, I was just thinking about you all. Happy to see you guys streaming again. We are happy to be streaming again. As you can see on our screen, if you can see the screen, there's a document there that we've blacked out some of the parts of that.
I blacked out my home address, which is now public online for anybody to go find, where we live, thanks to Mark and Sarah.
Well, we will be living for a little while still, but not much.
And I blacked out Sawyer's legal name, and I blacked out Carlotti's legal name. I've been going by my legal name. I just blacked out my middle name.
Because we've been served with a lawsuit.
I think the total pages are over 200.
By the Tila Foundation, by Mark and Sarah King. And
for playing less than 20 audios, and selling less than 10 shirts. We've only sold 10 shirts. So they're suing us. They've publicized our residence, my address, where we live, where we can no longer live now. I have to move my daughter out of the house and to somewhere in somebody else's name, so she's not connected with me. They've served us here, where we live. They did not disclose their address in the complaint. They did not disclose Carlotti's address in the complaint.
Because they didn't have it.
They only disclosed my fucking address. Lovely of them. So this is probably the last time we're streaming from here, because we're in crisis mode and moving my kid out of the house by hopefully tomorrow. which we were not prepared to do. We've had to take out loans. We're going to court tomorrow to appeal for certain things. We have to file a motion.
Casey says that the motion for discovery is what we should do. And I've seen the discovery listed, so we'll look into that.
We've been doing a lot of research.
Because we are going to plan on going to the court.
Yeah, we have to file.
Tomorrow.
First, we're filing. We didn't want to disclose too much because we know that they're watching us. That's why we've made all of our videos private. We're not infringing on their copyrights anymore. We're going to make public all of the documentation that they've sent us. So all of their copyrights, all of their trademarks that they've been keeping so close and under wraps and not showing anybody for 25 plus years, we're fucking showing them all. All of it.
Which most of it's very vague.
We're showing everything. Because they fucked with the wrong bitch.
Okay, babe.
I'm going to try to stop talking now because I have a hard time restraining myself. I'm going to take my little homeopathic medicine for my little knees arthritis. Oh, shut my face.
You can say everything you want to say, babe.
We've been put through hell. Absolute hell having to move so quickly when we were not prepared to do that. They waited for us to say on the live stream what we were doing with this place. Because they've been watching us. We know we shouldn't be live streaming, but we're sick of keeping it to ourselves and not sharing it with everybody.
Yeah. Now, some may wonder why. I mean, I've dealt with, why we're that concerned. Are there all kinds of crazies out there that want to come and get us? But see, we plan on traveling. We plan on sharing T&O's information far and wide. And so to leave Kathy's daughter here by herself,
we can't do that.
Knowing that, the potential is that there can be people that, are crazy enough. Because we've received threats, from different people from the Skeptic Generation page, and maybe those threats would never come to pass, but what if they do? How are we gonna deal with that? So
the media coming and camping outside the house.
Yeah, I don't think we're worried about that. I'm not that worried about that right now.
Till we blow it up.
But see, we want to make this into, since when we knew that we were faced with this, because Mark and Sarah kept on threatening us over and over and over again for years. Well,
I've only been involved for less than 8 months.
Right, and they're accusing of Kathy of things that she wasn't even around for.
I wasn't even around.
It's like they've got so many accusations that have no basis in the law.
After we're out of here, we're securely out of here, we'll make public their complaint against us with every single count that they're charging us. They're trying to charge us with, and
after we file it with them. Because then, because we don't have, there's no gag order on us.
Nope.
And to us, it's our benefit to reveal it to everybody, so that, hell, if we could get a Netflix series, they can follow it if they want to. Look at the Heaven's Gate cult are infighting. That's what they would be saying, right? The leaders of the cult are trying to, keep information from the public. And, if
which
I
they've
was
systematically done for 25 plus years. All they've done is hide it and hoard it.
Now, if I was seeing this from an outside view,
we don't know what
of not believing in T&O.
We don't know what normal people think. We're not normal.
I know, but I can kind of think a little bit, I think, as if what a person, maybe even a lot.
Well, what did the sheriff that served us said? This is some kooky stuff.
Yeah, some kooky stuff. Right. but he's pretty kooky himself, you know. So it's
We're
like,
wondering like where half the documentation went.
yeah. Like he served us with 2 packets of documentation that both were missing half the documentation. It was like bizarre. I think he took it and he took out the parts that he didn't want, that he wanted because it was so juicy,
Yeah.
and then gave us one set of documentation because both our names were on it.
We both have like this is my summons right here. Cuz you'll see my name. Sawyer has his own summons. Carlotti has his own summons as well.
Yeah, but I mean, if I was an outside person watching this and I found out that the 2 individuals that are the biggest legal faces of the Heaven's Gate suicide cult, that's what they call us, even though we're not pro-suicide at all.
We've stated that hundreds of
Yeah,
thousands of times.
but if I was watching that the leaders of that group had all this information that they weren't let other believers give to people, I would think, what are they trying to hide? What are they trying to hide in this information? Right? You know, and they could think that there's things that T and Do did that they want to hide. When T and Do don't want to hide any of it. And that's evident in many audio tapes and many things that they said. I'm saying many because it's many.
Hundreds.
Right. Might be hundreds of things that they said that
we were
indicated
in the process of documenting them because we knew that this was going to happen, but we honestly, we didn't believe that they would waste their money doing it.
So we've got certain strategies, but we're not going to talk about them right now because we don't want to give them preparation on how to deal with our strategies. And I think we've got a pretty strong case. But you never know, because we're dealing with the lower forces manipulating people. Because, I mean, you know, the truth isn't popular. And you can see that throughout, especially the United States, because I don't know about other countries as much. But in the United States, the censorship began in earnest, I mean, with the turn of the century, right? With the 2000 botched, you know, I can't even say that because that'll get censored out because they've got bots going through even what we're saying, finding keywords that they've got in their community guidelines that we can't talk about. And that just happened to this channel. One of my videos from a long time ago was removed.
2 of them.
And so I've got to be careful not to use that terminology again that's related to what they don't want to see talked about. But anyway, so all the things that have been talked about since 2000 that were talked about as conspiracies, at least from one particular point of view of the people that are most in power now with the media, are most things that are being rooted out from YouTube channels. Now, if we get totally closed down, we're just going to go to Rumble and whatever, you know, where a lot of people have gone. But for right now, we can still talk freely.
You guys make sure that you go to the Sawyer Kathy channel and subscribe to it because that channel hasn't received any strikes from YouTube. What Sawyer's talking about is not from Mark and Sarah. It's actually YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not anybody reporting the videos. It's YouTube going and removing his content.
We've had 2 videos, live streams removed. I say we, but it's the ones that I made by myself.
Before I was involved. Not that I don't, I wouldn't stand by him or whatever, but it's almost impossible to go back through all of his live streams and try to, suss out what they're going to find. And Sawyer came to the realization, like, we thought it was so great that they were having transcripts on all the videos, and it's like, wait a minute, they did that so their bots could look through the words and not have to actually watch 4 to 6 hours of video and find things.
And it's a good thing for the people, too, to have those transcripts.
I love the transcripts. A lot of times I'm watching videos when Sawyer's sleeping or I'm in the bathroom. I don't want to hear people talking. I just want to, read the transcript and watch a little bit of the video because I've been watching a lot of van life stuff. Just super interesting. I just saw one when I was liking this, so don't forget, please, to hit the like button. But I saw this... Their camper blew up. They were like, their camper blew up. So I saved that to watch later.
Wow.
Yeah, like, whoa, my God.
I mean,
And then there's this couple sitting there going, we never expected to make this video. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I hope our camper doesn't blow up because it's going to be our freaking home. We have to put all our stuff in storage, like, immediately. Which you can see, I have a lot of books. This is just one bookshelf behind us, and I have over probably 10,000, if not more, books. So we've got a lot of work cut out, and we're old and tired, and you're going to have to spend a lot of money having movers come in and load up a truck and unload it into a storage, and spending money that we do not have. Yeah. It's good that we had already bought an RV, though, like a secondhand RV. So, I mean, obviously we got financing for that.
Yeah, we had to take out a loan for it. So
we don't, like, it might seem that we have money, but we don't. We're, like, going deep into debt because we wanted to...
We had to take out a loan to pay for the loan.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long we can do that,
out.
But maybe we can, I mean, we do have some options, but but not a whole lot. So we are looking for a pro bono lawyer that can...
yeah, but we need somebody here in the state of Indiana because this is where the case is. So,
right.
Like, we've exhausted, I think, the lawyers here because nobody wants to help us. Not for free, at least. Not for something like this. So I guess we're lawyers now.
Yeah, we're studying the material, learning all the keywords and learning the processes. There's not that, it's not, I mean, there's a lot to it, but...
But if we miss a deadline or if we miss anything, then we could potentially be, default judgment against. And the things that they're asking for triple the damages. They don't have any monetary damages because we don't ask for money for playing the audios. Nobody makes any money from playing these audios. And like I said, we've sold 10 shirts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So we make about $10 from
10 shirts.
Each.
That's it. And that's less than, like, maybe $100 in profit, if that.
And not all those shirts were...
We have certainly not made... Yeah, we've actually sold 9 shirts that have, potential copyright infringement from the older member. They do have copyrighted, which they did not provide us proof of before, so we did not know. They just stated, everything's copyrighted. You can't do anything. You can't do anything.
Right.
It's like, well, we know that's not true, so we're just going to proceed. We know that this image is not copyrighted. This was a picture that was in the New York Times. So we're curious if the New York Times is going to come after us. Seriously doubt it, because they have better things to do than have personal vendettas against people.
And if they do, they give us a cease and desist, we'll stop with it too.
So they're asking for triple the damages, statutory damages in lieu of actual damages, because there are no actual damages. They're asking for exemplary
exemplary
damages,
which is punitive.
Punitive, which
to
means
punish us.
Punish. They want to punish us for playing less than 20 audios and selling 9 shirts.
Punish us for having the audacity to let people hear what Tiendo was saying.
They made my address public, you guys.
Imagine that. That's the same thing that the Christians did, the Catholics did, with Jesus material. They were punishing people that weren't in the clergy, that were sharing what Jesus taught with other people. Sound familiar? That's what the Luciferians do. They twist it so that the religion becomes anti the truth. And that's why the religions are all so messed up right now. Because they've all been subject to the space aliens, the souls that are the space aliens, finding humans that they can manipulate into twisting, even thinking that they're doing the right thing. The people, think they're doing the right thing by persecuting people that are telling the truth.
Mark and Sarah said in an email to me that Tiendo would be suing us. That Tiendo would sue us for playing audios.
It's bizarre. It's like, Jesus said that how can Lucifer work against himself? He can't. His kingdom would fall if he worked against himself. So what does Lucifer want to do? He wants to stifle the truth from coming out. So
Which is
why
all
would
Mark and Sarah have done for 25 plus years.
Right.
That's all they've done. They've worked against anybody who wants to share the information.
Now, they've provided the website, so that was providing the truth, yes. But that wasn't all that they were given to provide. And we have the evidence of that as well. The audio tapes were given to be disseminated to people so that people would have a more in-depth understanding about what they are all about, what they were all about. And the only place that gave the biggest in-depth understanding about what they were about are the audio tapes, because that's all the day-to-day, meeting by meeting, subject by subject, demonstration of the overcoming of the world humanness process.
Do you want to look at the comments? There's quite a few.
Sure.
We're having a really hard time, guys. Really hard time.
Josh Boy says they doxed you. That's illegal to do. I don't know. What?
Yeah, we're going to the court on Monday and seeing if the first thing is if we can get my address stricken from the public record, but it's already out. And I mean, like, Sawyer questioned us putting this document up because now anybody can go and search it and find it, and you only have to pay a minimal fee, which I probably shouldn't tell, but we're going to be out of here by the end of this week, so.
We're getting,
There might
I
be
guess,
a storm moving in.
yeah, YouTube saying that some of the streaming isn't smooth now. So I can see that the screen is jagged. Anyway, we're going to keep on going because I guess the sound is probably still okay. Casey says, no, Josh, they had an attorney serve them. Well,
A
yes.
sheriff served us.
A sheriff, served us, actually. Right. And Casey says, motion for discovery. Soul Caliber says, greetings.
Hello.
Matthew Carey says, I'm getting tired of those two weeds interfering with Tiendo's dissemination task. Yeah, I know.
Anybody that wants to write statements and email them to us, like, so we can use in our defense, that would be appreciated.
They are snakes, says Soul Caliber. Ode says, all I can think is you guys have an audience. And they're jealous. There's some of that, Because they feel like one of the things that they said was that their reputation was harmed.
Right. Irreparably harmed.
Irreparably harmed. And that's why they want exemplary and statutory damages from their reputation. I guess,
Not even sure what kind of reputation they have.
well, if they think of themselves as the ultimate authority of T&O's information, and we question that, then people are going to question whether they really are the ultimate authority regarding T&O's information. So maybe that's what they're talking about. But, how are you going to prove that in court, that their reputation was,
It's ridiculous.
because we had no intention to mess with their reputation. We were just pointing out the things that we didn't agree with them.
All they had to do was just leave us alone.
Yep. So they brought it upon themselves by doing this, using the Luciferian-run law system to squelch the truth, to shut us up, put a gag order on us. Just exactly what the lower forces want to happen.
Comments? Not sure
Josh
why.
Boy says, but if Mark and Sarah posted the photo of the papers that were served, then that's illegal. No, they haven't done that I'm aware of.
Every court case, every filing like this is public, in the public domain. All of it's recorded.
Right. RTT says, that is so messed up. We have freedom of religion in this country. Fight back. The truth is on your side.
We plan to.
Yeah, we plan to.
Like I said, they fucked with the wrong bitch.
Zachary Clark says, what's the purpose of you going to court? Just asking. If you can't tell, I understand. Well, to defend ourselves so that we don't end up with
We're summoned.
some kind of damages of,
We're summoned to
thousands
court.
and thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars.
So that's the purpose of us going
Because-
to court.
because they told us-
served us.
They told us that every time we played an audio tape that was copyrighted, even though we didn't know specifically what audio tapes were copyrighted,
We still
that
don't.
we would be charged $100,000 for every one. And there were
So-
13 listed, so that's 1,300,000 right there.
So
And then 3 times that.
Right, they want 3 times that.
So that's $4 million right
As you
there.
can see on that document, which is an official serving, official summons to court, that it says you have 21 days to respond, and if you fail to, a default judgment will be entered against you. So that's our purpose of going to court.
Yes.
And we didn't try to, dodge the summons. We're not trying to hide. But we are trying to protect our lives and my daughter's life.
So Soul Calibur says, this is bizarre. They are obsessed for your downfall. That's right, they are.
Exactly. Malicious intent.
Yeah, Daniel Mills says, Mark and Sarah, yeah, I don't like to think in terms of calling them names. I know where you're coming from, though.
I do.
Yeah, but, I know where you're coming from,
It's
Daniel.
been quite the challenge, too.
They're anti, in one sense, they have kept the website up, and, they have sent videos to people,
Audio.
and a few audios to people, but they won't let me have them,
Right.
or Kathy.
He was sitting there for 19 years. He's in over probably 700 of these tapes, and he can't have access to them.
What's the... They want to be... They think that they're the only ones that need to disseminate the information, when it's very clear in T&O's documentation that every believer in them needs to work for them. That's what the word worship means to Do. It means work for, is what Do said. Because if somebody isn't working for them, then they don't really believe in them that much. Because you have to, you might believe in them to a degree, and you might be exploring, and that's all fine. It's not nothing wrong with anybody for doing that. But once somebody actually believes in them, then they've got to try to work up to trying to, work for them. And the job is to disseminate their information because that's the task.
Let's get caught up on the comments. I know, I'm sorry to be after you on that. I just know we're behind.
All right.
And I'm not reading any of them because I can't see that.
David's plan says,
sorry we didn't meet up with you, David. This is why.
Casey says, okay. Casey says, don't go into this, you two. Save it for cross-examination. Yeah, I know.
You don't have to respond to that. I'm sorry. I just want to get...
I agree, Casey. David says, wow, glad that you're back, but can't believe they actually did it. I know, it was kind of bizarre for us too. Casey says, it's a UFO cult. It's not a suicide cult. Even if UFO is derogatory, it's less hateful than suicide. Yeah, I know where you're coming from on that, I think. Soul Caliber says, Mark and Sarah are enemies of the next level. To some degree, they're acting that way.
They think they're working for the next level. They're praying and asking T and Doe for guidance, and this is what they've come up with. This is what they think is from Doe and T's mind.
Even in the complaint, they made it like a prayer.
Yeah, they said our
it was
prayer
like bizarre.
for relief.
Yeah.
We pray that the court, punishes Sawyer and Kathy.
For being so bad and sharing T and Doe's information with people.
They want us to be punished.
It's bizarre. We can't hardly believe it, but it's happening. Mark doesn't want to admit he could be wrong. You're exactly right. And Doe called, actually muted him at one point in the classroom because he became such a trail boss. And if this information gets out, it will prove he is wrong.
We're building quite the defense and offense.
Yes, that's right. RTT says, whatever task Doe gave them, they're definitely straying from it. T and Doe would never want information withheld like they're doing. That's correct. Harm says, damn, so they did it. Yeah, that's right.
That's right, Harm.
Rise Above says, was just going to email you guys, make sure everything was okay.
No, it's not okay.
That's why we're doing this live stream, so that we can bring everybody up to date to some degree. We're asking T and Doe for help individually, and I believe we're getting it. So I'm not, it doesn't mean it's easy, and we got to keep on asking and keep on looking for what they would have us do with each step that we take, and what not to do maybe, also, so we don't make any mistakes. Yeah. This lawsuit is malicious, says Casey. Yes, it is. Casey says, get a printer and use Notepad, number 1. Number 2, you can motion for extensions on deadlines.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we plan to do.
Because we need enough time to move and secure ourselves.
And also make a case so that we can do more than make our case. We've got
let's move
a number of things in store in our minds. So Casey says, what about the next of kin of T and Doe's vehicles? They're not involved in the lawsuit at all.
No, it's just Mark and Sarah.
Yeah. Soul Caliber says, seems like the whole world is after you. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I hear you.
It does. It's been really,
it does seem
really
that way.
hard.
And
it's been really, really hard. Sawyer at one point wanted to take me to the hospital because he thought I was having a mental breakdown.
I was concerned. But we're
really,
working together
really
and we're supporting each other. I've been beside myself as well, so it's not like, it's easy to have thoughts of wanting to check out, when you're feeling like you're being hit on all sides. I understand why people can be so depressed that they can't stand even living anymore.
And I'm just like, even right now, imagining Mark and Sarah watching this and just laughing at us and being gleeful that we're so hurt and upset. Sawyer and I have been arguing and straight up fighting over what actions to take and how to handle this. And was composing a message to them, basically pleading with them to retract our address. They did not have to do that. They've hidden their address. They don't have Carlotti's address because he was smart enough to live his life without disclosing his physical address, but I don't operate like that. Like, I've never had to hide or be scared or anything like that. So, like we can't have anything in our name. Like, we can't, like, it's so malicious what they've done to me, what they've done to us and my child. It's beyond belief, honestly. And so he started in the car, because we're still working, you know, we have to work, even though gas is over $5 a gallon here, and I'm barely making $80 a day, because nobody has any freaking money anymore. Yeah, I'm an Uber driver. We deliver for Uber. So that's why I'm bringing up gas. And we were in the car, and he, said I'm composing an email to Mark and Sarah, and I was like, rule number 1, you don't talk to the people who are suing you, and we just blew up on each other. But we ended up sending the email to them, basically begging them and telling them, how wrong it was to publish my address. No response. No response at all.
They probably sent it to the lawyer for advice.
Pretty sure they sent it to their lawyer.
They probably said then, don't respond to them because...
They don't care.
Right.
I think they did it on purpose.
Might have.
They did it on purpose.
Malicious, like Casey said.
They've completely ruined us here in this town on purpose because we played less than 20 audios and sold less than 10 shirts. Who does that? I have to give my cat away, who is 18 years old, because I can't keep her in the motorhome with us. I've had my cat for 10 years. I know that's not a big deal, but it is, like... I have to abandon my child and get as far away from her as possible so no harm comes to her. Like, we didn't have the best relationship. We were already planning on separating, but that was after she was out of school. That was in a year. But now that's all shit. The end of this week. Bye. See you later.
Well, we'll still be in touch, but at least she'll be in a safer place for the future so that we can, deal with this and continue to do T&O's work.
Yeah, we're not stopping. Clearly, we're not going to play audios anymore on the channel.
Enough for a little while.
We can't sell the t-shirts, but we can sell these. So if you guys want to buy them for extraordinary amounts to help us with funds, please do.
Well, we'll still sell them for the same price.
You're right,
if you want to
yes.
donate a little more...
They're $32.50.
We haven't started any GoFundMes or anything yet.
Or crowdsourcing for legal. We're going to appeal to the court for a court-appointed attorney.
Yeah, just for the main things that an attorney is good at.
We don't know what the hell we're doing.
Right. But for the most part, if we can, we're going to file everything ourselves. Casey says there are people on eBay selling the same shirts.
Yeah, exactly. There's people on eBay and Etsy. There's people selling the audios. We just found a listing where people are selling 3 CDs for $165. Mark and Sarah don't give 2 craps about that. They care about people who want to be positively sharing this message. That's it. I pissed Sarah off royally by challenging her authority and calling her on her bullshit. And she did not like that.
In person.
She did not like that at all.
I'll take that another time. I don't know who that's from. It's all right. I'll take it another time.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to see.
Just hit
Oh.
It's from, yeah, I know, but I don't know who it is. Doesn't matter.
Maybe
Deal
they'll
with
leave
it.
a message.
I'll deal with it later.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, okay. Autistic Vegan says, holy shit, damn. And Casey says, depending on the laws of the state you're in, if you get a speeding ticket or a jaywalking ticket with the option of paying a fine or going to court, your address is public record. Oh, is that right?
Yeah, well, we haven't gotten any of that kind of stuff because we're not people like that. I mean, not to say that that's anything, but we don't.
Yeah, well, the
ridiculous.
difference here is that this is an incredibly controversial subject.
Yeah, and people hate
know,
us and it
right.
stated online that they would that we need to be arrested and we need to be stopped and
right, and
lots
that
of
we're
hateful
dangerous
things.
and yeah, we've received a bunch of hate
So it's a little
mail,
different than just getting a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
And worried about something
Yeah, Casey says the audio tapes were given to Riccoti. Well, actually, Riccoti got them from the storage room. And but Mark and Sarah sent him on Doe's recommendation that Riccoti and Oscoti help with retrieving the things from storage that were of value. And so they came away with approximately 486 audio tapes. And those were the ones that were copyrighted, but we don't know exactly which ones those were. But Riccoti then gifted them to me, about 218 of them, because my understanding is that he split them with Mark, the 400 and something that he got. And he sent them, and then he copied his batch, the tapes, and then sent the master tapes back to Mark and Sarah when they wanted the task back of dealing with dividing up those materials among those that wanted to disseminate their information. And then Mark and Sarah demanded that Riccoti stop disseminating the information of those 218 tapes that he kept for himself and he digitized, and Carl Odie helped him with some of that, and Pip Odie helped with some of that, and Oscar Odie to some degree, and Juan Odie might have been helped with some of that. Stewart may have helped with some of that. I don't know exactly some of the details on that. But as a result of Riccoti not wanting to give those tapes back, Mark and Sarah were threatening a lawsuit. Even then, and then they threatened his daughter after Riccoti's vehicle died with a lawsuit for the materials that Riccoti left his daughter. And the Right to Know website was started by Riccoti on from Doe's instigation. And Doe gave him a set of documents to post on that website. See, so Doe didn't put all his eggs in one basket. In fact, he sent the same letter of what to do with the audio tapes, divide them among those that wanted to disseminate their information, to at least 3 different former students that still believed in Tiandoa and wanted to serve. Because he knew that some of them would do the right thing. But he also gave Mark and Sarah the option to do whatever they wanted to do. And that's what the option is that they're choosing to take. And that's what they're doing to justify their method of disseminating information, which they said they told Riccoti, they pleaded with Riccoti to stop disseminating information so they could do it in the proper way, according to the way that they came up with to do it. And that was 25 years ago. So they never did it. in the proper way. I'm sorry I'm being sarcastic about it, but I can't help myself sometimes with that. Anyway, I'll move on to the chat. Casey says the audio tapes were given to Rick. Right, I already read that one. Okay, so Casey says, but Mark and Sarah sweated him out of those tapes. Yes, they did. And but he didn't give them to him before he copied them and then digitized them and sent them to me and Carl Odie and other people. And Juan Odie as well. Casey says, during the right to know period. Yes, during the right to know period that was taking place, 1997, 8. That's what I've got, the postmark of the folder for the CDs that shows that Rick Odie gave me that set of audio tapes.
Oops, sorry.
That were copyrighted, by the way. I don't know if it was the same exact copyright as the one that Tila Foundation has. Anyway, Krell says, makes me sick. Yeah, I understand. Rise Above says, there's an email from Mark on Reddit, which is a response to why he didn't exit with the rest. He says some of us were left behind to disseminate their information. That's baloney.
Yeah, that's not true. Doe actually says in tape, I think it's 920 something or 918, or I should refer to my notes, but Doe actually says, don't kid yourselves or fool yourselves. It's my own terminology, but don't convince yourselves that anybody's being left behind for any reason, because you're not.
No, I've been saying that all along.
That includes us.
That's right, me especially. I mean, not Kathy.
Right, because I wasn't in the class.
Because she wasn't in the class, but so
if we felt we were being called to join our older member, then we would do that. But
right.
We don't feel like we're being called. What I feel we're being called to do, and what I felt since I embarked upon this journey, is to disseminate all of their information, to make all their information public.
Yep.
And I'm going to do my task.
And there are people working on that. But see, Mark and Sarah don't want to go after everybody. And I'm glad that's the case, because we're the easiest target.
But we're not an easy target.
Not really. CA says, I had about a 2-day window to start listening to the tapes. I'm very frustrated.
They're available online, but we can't give out any links anymore. We can't direct anybody anymore to where they're at.
Talk to some of the people that are in this chat privately.
They're available.
About where you can go to get the tapes. So you don't need to be frustrated. You can, you'll get them. You just keep on looking for them. And, you know, some like Rise Above or Krell or KC or Autistic, I don't know about Autistic Vegan, you know, or Matthew.
So.
But I'm not saying that any of these individuals have the tapes. I don't know if they do or not. But you can ask them for what, you know, what they do know.
It's a very easy website.
Yes, and there's others.
Very, very easy website.
Like anybody that's hearing this that sees what
it's not how members
that CA
of the
is saying
behave at all.
Yeah, anybody that sees what CA is saying right now, I think it was CA that said that about being frustrated. I got a lot off the track here on the. It was CA, yes, that said he was frustrated. So anybody gets in touch with them that knows where the links are, because there's a number of links that we're not going to talk about anymore.
Yeah, we can't. We don't want to get anybody else in trouble.
Right.
But we do know that Mark and Sarah are involved in a lawsuit with us now. Not sure how much funds. We know that their house is valued at a certain amount, so... but we don't think they have enough funds to initiate multiple lawsuits. As far as we know, we're the only ones that they have actually filed a lawsuit against. That's how much they hate us.
Why are they doing this as Autistic Vegan? Well, it's...
Just go back to the beginning of the stream. I don't think we need to...
Yeah, it's...
Because they are working for the lower... They're literally possessed.
They think they're doing the right thing. But, but you
By
can see from...
T&O's information.
Right.
They think that somebody who was in the class for 19 years isn't qualified enough to discuss their teachings. They think that somebody that was sitting there through about 70 to 80% of those recordings isn't qualified to talk about them or play those recordings.
Doesn't have the right to. And that's a distortion on their part.
They were only in the group for 12 years. It's hard to believe that they were ever in the group. I'm struggling.
Well, they were kicked out.
With why they have received the power that they received. Like, I'm struggling with that big time.
Well, see, that puts everybody to the test.
Me to task with that, but like, right. I just.
Well, they chose their choices. We all have choices. All the time.
Like
every class member.
Like in October of 1997 is when they started copywriting things with no instructions from the group or DOE to do that. None whatsoever. They have nothing.
The only thing they had instructions
they took it upon themselves in October. The group left March 23rd, 1997. In October, they started copywriting things.
Right.
Which we're going to make public, all their copyrights and patents. And
if we learn them, they don't tell us specifically.
We've got the exhibits. We've got the, official seal marked, registration of copyright. As far as we know, as far as the entire library, the entire audio library of T&O, that's the first copyright that they provided. And it says 486 audio tapes. So it doesn't say which tapes.
No.
So we still don't know. According to Mark's own mouth, and also we have screenshots from a live stream where Mark and I were going back and forth before I had met Sawyer in person. Mark admitted to having 1,061 audio tapes of only 929, which he released to another individual. Are we naming him?
Yeah, he's been...
Wanodi, right, because he's going to testify for us.
He's in Venezuela.
So, of course, Mark and Sarah did not make any mention of him because they can't touch him in Venezuela. But Mark literally emailed all of the audios to him.
Well, not all, but 929.
And then he emailed Wanodi and told him that's all there is. But now, years later, he's saying there's 1061. So
they've been lying for years. They've been lying about stuff. And so, why would we believe anything they say about what they have and what they don't have if they don't prove it to us?
And they wouldn't prove it to us. When we sat across from them, we were like, show us the money. And he was like, we have it. If you knew what we knew. I looked right in his fucking face, right in their stupid, dumb eyes. And he said, if you knew what we knew. Okay, well, fucking tell us.
Right, you want us to cease and desist, but you don't tell us what to cease and desist from doing, except in a general way.
They were going to give us permission, you guys. They were going to give us permission to play all the audios. They said that they were going to post all the audios. They had no problem with that. They have no problem with that. But yet, they do. They still haven't done it. He's been saying he's going to post all the audios for 25 plus years now.
Yep.
Not one. Nary a one has he posted. Not one. When he emails them out to people, you guys go email him. Go email rep@heavensgate.com and ask him for an audio and see what they fucking say to you.
They might send you one.
And see what he says to you, though. We will only send it to you if you promise not to share it with anybody else. They threatened me in the first email they ever sent me when I asked for them. If you share it, if we find out we were giving them to somebody else and we found out and told them XYZ and they stopped doing it. So it's like, oh, okay. I just want to hear the audios. Like, what the hell? And now here we are. Now here I sit being sued by fucking the TILA Foundation. They don't have any right to that phrase. And they've cheapened it and sullied it and turned it into wrongness.
Rise Above says, I bet they are watching right now. There was something I once read called clean hands in reference to going into any litigation. Don't give them anything they can use against you.
We know.
Yeah, we know that, and maybe we'll do something, maybe we'll say something they can use against us. But we've got a bunch of ammo up our sleeves.
And it's not right. Like, that's why they put my address out there, because they knew that it would shut us up. That we'd be too scared to say anything. And so they thought that they had shut us up and that we would probably never live stream again.
Right. Hopefully, Rise Above says, hopefully the judge sees this as frivolous and just tosses it out.
We kind of don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I know, right? We don't really want that to happen because
we have plans.
Yeah, we have plans. Anyway, so Casey says he can ask for that, but he won't get it.
It's probably talking about something else. As far as Mark, or just move on if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's up to a jury to decide. Yeah, they want a jury. The summons is for a jury trial.
We want a jury trial too.
Sure. Rise Above says a judge has to rule on a preliminary hearing before it goes to a jury, though.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of steps that have to...
A preliminary hearing, huh?
There's a lot of steps that have to happen. I showed you that in the... Because we went...
So they're going to spend a lot of money on this.
Yep. They're going to spend a lot of money. I shouldn't say this, but we hope that they go bankrupt. We hope that their lawyer, which... Incidentally, the first lawyer that we sat across from and met with us seemed like a nice enough fellow. He's not on the case anymore. They're not with that law firm anymore. I wonder why.
Because he probably doesn't want to get embroiled in a case that he can't win.
And he probably was advising them not to do it.
Yeah, because they don't have enough.
They have nothing
against
except
us.
For a personal vendetta.
There's no damages.
Insane.
There's no actual damages. Actual is the word to use. Because they weren't making money on anything and we weren't either. Except
for maybe...
a few shirts.
Right, but maybe they're making money it's funny how people that were once your enemies will become your allies. And it's been pointed out to us that Mark and Sarah have only given information to media groups. They've only shared footage with media groups. They haven't given the information to any universities, any libraries, any archives, nothing.
That we know about.
They've only given information to media groups. So I wonder how much they're getting paid for that. And people have said this to me, and I've argued with them. No, they're not getting any money. They're not getting any money. But perhaps they are. And that's why they don't want us sharing it. Because they're getting money from it. And it's not exclusive if there's people talking about it online. Then it's not exclusive and the news people don't want it.
Well, you know what's so rotten about that? One of the things that's rotten about that is that there is so much information from T&O that you could give it all away 100 times, 1,000 times, and you'd still have a tremendous amount to talk about, the media groups or whatever, So let them talk about the things that T&O said. Why limit them in that way? Sure, they're going to use it against us. They do that with everything. But certain people are going to see that and they're going to say, really? That kind of makes sense to me. Or that, is that really what happened? And those are the people that potentially have some mind from the next level in them.
Like, I love Amazon, you guys. How the fuck am I going to order Amazon if I don't have an address for them to mail me stuff to? Like, I know it's stupid, but I'm like, shit. Like, I get my homeopathic medicine. Like, do I have to go to the store now? Like, I'm almost out of my chapstick. Like, what the hell?
Well, we'll get a P.O. box or something. And then we'll have it forwarded. That's what we did in the classroom. We had it forwarded to someplace else we were living.
I know Amazon has lockers.
You got to pay for all that. That's the problem with that. But you just change your address also.
Well, we're not gonna have an address anymore. I don't
Right.
get to. I don't get the luxury of an address.
Maybe we could have
anymore.
a drone fly over our RV and drop us a package.
As we're in transit. You guys know about like hotspots for
Yeah, for Wi-Fi
moving
connections.
vehicles? Because
Without spending a tremendous amount of money on it.
Yeah, I don't want the Starlink thing. I've been looking into that, and while it seems somewhat cool, like one of the major drawbacks of Starlink, because Starlink has it for RVs. First off, the RVs are like on a lower priority. So if you're in an area where there's lots of other Starlink users, you get the lowest bandwidth. So like that's kind of shitty. And then the dish is $600, and then the service is $135 a month. And it's not in all areas. And the main issue with it is you have to set the dish up outside. Excuse me. You have to set the dish up outside, and there can't be any trees in the way, there can't be any buildings in the way, there can't be anything in the way, or you won't get a signal. It won't bounce off the satellite. So, and you cannot use it while you're in motion because it constantly tries to find whichever satellite it's closest to, and it's written into the Starlink contract that you cannot use it in motion. It's crazy. They'll confiscate your equipment and take it from you if you try to use it while you're in motion. I know, it's the weirdest thing. Because it won't work. And, you know, they don't want to have a product out there that's not working, and, you know, it's just when you're docked somewhere.
Yeah. Which could be good, but for that amount of money, I don't know.
Yeah,
You know?
and then anybody can just come by and grab your little dishy. That's what it's called, dishy. They can just pick it up and take off with it. So, like, are you going to put it on the top of your RV and then you got to climb up there every single time? That reminds me, we need to order a ladder for it.
Well, maybe. I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. We'll talk about it, right? We'll think about it. Search around. Razabo says a judge has to rule on a preliminary hearing before it goes to a jury, though.
Yeah, you read that.
Oh, I read that. I believe a judge has to decide if this is not a waste of the court's time and you can continue with the trial. Yes, I agree with you. That's what's going to happen. We'll see what happens.
They've been hit with a frivolous lawsuit before, but I think we're both of the same mind, is we want it to go to trial. Like, we've got things that we're going to do.
Because we want it to be written into the law that they can't do this to us anymore.
Yeah, and they're seeking injunctive relief against us, which means we can't do anything. We can't say anything. They're also asking for a restraining order against us.
Krill says, why would Doe mute people? Doe wouldn't mute anybody.
Nope, sure wouldn't.
But, you know,
Mark and Sarah will.
Yeah, because they're not working for Doe.
And then they'll say it's from Doe's mind.
CA says, from what I understand, no one was asked to stay behind. That's correct.
That's correct. Not even Rio, who claimed that.
Well, Rio was, yes, but Doe approved of him leaving when he said he wanted to leave.
Yeah, everybody was allowed to leave.
Right. And that meant also that those that wanted to stay in touch and wanted to have service, Doe also tried to give service to.
Like Mark and Sarah.
Even though that wasn't the reason they left. Like Mark and Sarah and like me, even though...
Well, unfortunately, you didn't want to be of service.
I didn't for a while want to be of service, but I did want to be of service as of about the year 2000.
Yeah.
Or 2001, actually.
And that's why he's not in the letters. That's why he's not named in the letters. Because that's a big thing with Mark and Sarah. Why, Sawyer's not supposed to have anything, because he wasn't specifically named in the letters.
But Juan Odie was. And so that's where the loophole was. Doe left loopholes so that everything would be provided. So we all have what we need. It's not like we need to have every audio tape until Doe decides that it's going to happen. And then one way or the other, we'll have them available. It might be because of what we do,
Or what Carlotti does.
or Carlotti does,
Or other people who have
or
posted
even
them.
who knows if Mark and Sarah might have a change of mind and say, okay, we'll give them to you. You never can tell. Because Doe can.
Yeah, because as long as we signed our lives over to them and our children's lives over to them, they were going to let us have everything. Literally, that's what they wanted.
Well, if we checked with them on every little thing,
Any
they had to be the trail bosses.
Any works that were inspired by Heaven's Gate, they wanted rights to. They wanted ownership of. They
And
wanted
any derivatives,
patents of.
right? Any derivatives.
That's what they were asking of us, and we were like, "You're fucking nuts."
So notice this picture that's up at the top here in the middle of the screen. It's three older member pictures that Alodi drew.
None of which they have copyrighted.
None of which they have trademarked. So that's why we're putting them here. But I had to remove a whole bunch of videos. I didn't have to, but I didn't want to.
We don't want to be infringing on the copyright anymore now that we
know that
somewhat
one's trademarked.
understand. Yeah,
Right.
like we removed the picture that Raymond gave us. Not us, but gave Sawyer. Because that has a picture of the older member. Like, are they going to go sue Raymond for printing that out? Like, one of the charges against us is that we have or are creating plush dolls, which we have not done.
No.
And
we haven't even
we
drawn
don't even
one.
have, like, a drawing or a prototype. We have nothing, but that's one of the counts against us.
That doll behind us is not our making.
Yeah, no, that's
We wouldn't make it like
something
that.
that we
exactly,
got in.
but-
Yeah, that's something we got in Nevada. So, are they going to sue everybody that has alien plush dolls? Are they going to sue the people who made this hat that came from the UFO museum in Roswell? Like,
But that's what they want to limit us.
ridiculous.
They want to make it so that the courts decide exactly what we do with every little thing. They're so obsessed with their authority. It's like beyond belief how superior they think they are over us and other people. It's very sad. This is just a
It's
notice to appear,
horrifying.
says Casey. Rise Above says, you guys are gaining momentum. That's why they did this. Well, I think there's some truth to that. They noticed you guys started making moves and getting traction, and they could not allow that. They want to be the gatekeepers of Heaven's Gate. You're right, I think about a lot of that. Because we, were really enjoying playing tapes for people, and they couldn't stand that.
No, they
see
said
that.
that our behavior was exponentially increasing and that the law wasn't doing anything to help them. And so the court must stop us.
And we were acting with indifference towards their authority.
And that we stated several times that the foundation couldn't do anything about it. So they have to prove that they can do something about it. So
Right.
that's what this is.
Right.
Is them proving to us that they can do something about it.
And yet we can prove
Guess
that we
what?
were not.
We're going to do some shit about it too, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, we can prove that we haven't been indifferent. In fact, Kathy is the whole reason why we ended up meeting with them to try to come up with an agreement. That's not indifference, but their agreement was so full of
They literally wanted our lives and our children's lives. Literally.
unbelievable restrictions on us. It was like bizarre that we were going to agree to them owning all the material.
They knew we wouldn't agree
When
to
they
it.
don't
And that's
own
why they
it.
wrote it up. That's why they did it that way, because they knew we wouldn't.
You think
And
so?
in fact, yeah, absolutely. One of the little clauses in there was you agree to keep the material confidential. So, like, you're going to give us permission to play the audios, but then we have to agree to keep it confidential due to the extreme sensitive nature of the material because everyone's going to jump off cliffs as soon as they hear it.
Which
If
is
they-
not happening. That
They
hasn't
really
happened.
thought that people were going to commit suicide after hearing any of the audios or hearing any of the information, then they wouldn't even have the website up. They wouldn't even be sending audios out to people if they really, really thought that. But yet, here they sit. There's the website still up. There's the entire Heaven's Gate book on the website for free to anybody. But they want to one of their counts is that we were creating an audiobook, which of course we had to get rid of that on YouTube. That no longer exists.
For now.
It's literally for free. The book is literally for free. And we can't
which is great.
Make recordings of it. Like, they don't want me reading snippets of it during the live stream. Like, that's illegal now.
Right. They were criticizing that too. Doing performances and, reading, like even reading documents like Junodi's document. And,
right.
Disseminating, incarnating, and discarnating.
Right. We had to make all of our videos private. All of our prior videos are private because we don't want to infringe on their precious copyright.
During this time, while we're going through this. And now all this information is available to people.
Are we the bad guys? Like, what the hell?
We are the bad guys from the Luciferian point of view. Definitely.
It's just crazy.
So Matthew says, well, let's see. Rise Above says they want to be the gatekeeper so they can charge admission. No, but there's no admission to the gate.
Yeah, and Mark mentioned
is the gate.
We're going to have them on Venmo one by one so people can get them like from a candy dispenser. And I was just staring at him like, what is he talking about? What's going, like candy? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, it's great to have them all on Vimeo. We were all for that.
Well, he's not putting any of them up.
But how come they're not there? Because, he probably said that before Sarah agreed to that.
You have them illegally, Sawyer. They want us to destroy everything that we have. They want us to turn over anything. So they want our computers impounded. They want anything where we could have anything on it taken into possession.
Which we don't have anything anymore.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So CA says, do you know if Carlin sent a similar letter? Sorry I missed the beginning. Or anyone other ex-members supportive of the tapes being released. Yes, there are other ex-members supportive of the tapes being released. There's Juan Odie and there's Pip Odie.
Yeah, everyone is supportive of the tapes being released except Mark and Sarah.
Well, in terms of ex-members, there's some that are not for T&O anymore. They don't believe in T&O. So I don't know what they think about the tapes. But I know about Juan Odie and Pip Odie.
We haven't reached out to Pip Odie yet. We've just been so overwhelmed with everything.
Next few days.
We'll get in touch with him. But Juan Odie is willing to testify.
Yes, even if he has to come to the United States. But he could probably do a deposition from Venezuela. So Mark and Sarah are serving Luciferius Corporation, says Matthew. Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Yeah. It's what it appears, even though they think that that's what we're doing by trying to disseminate the information. Sarah said that to my face.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
And that's when I pissed her off irrevocably. When I said to her, you think an influence is influencing me to spread T&O's message?
Right, she had no answer to that.
Like, what is that? And she just went, like, okay.
Yeah, right. Casey Strange says, I'm reading the complaining. Don't ask me how. It hasn't gone to trial yet, but they're being petty. Well, yes, they are.
Yeah, all you have to do is look up the thing.
The CA says, I'm happy for Rick for exiting his vehicle and joining the class, but I wonder how different things would be if he had stayed behind and had the opportunity to be the one to disseminate the info. Frankly, I don't think it would be any different. Well, he would be just sitting here like we are,
right,
talking about it.
Mark and Sarah.
Fighting with them, because that's what he was doing before.
They went so low that after Rakoti went into a tent and hooked up the exhaust of his vehicle, his car, his actual auto car, not his body, went into a tent and piped the hose into the tent and started the car. So after Rakoti did that and exited his vehicle, they went after his daughter. After she lost her father, they went after her and threatened her because she wasn't thirsty enough. So that's the kind of people that they are.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like your father just basically in your eyes committed suicide, and then these fucking crazy people are coming after you, threatening lawsuits. Give us the material that you have. Like, can you imagine? I can now because of what they've done to us. It's horrifying.
So CA says Mark and Sarah left in 86, right? It's 86 or early 87. I'm not sure exactly when. I think
And
it was 86.
they didn't leave. They were kicked out. They were told to leave.
They were told to leave unless they wanted to come back and follow all the procedures of, for instance, using the phrase, I could be wrong. In other words, trusting their own judgment. I know that looks hard for people to handle, but it was when...
You rely on your older member in his mind.
Yes, that was the whole program.
Do not rely on
Nobody
your
had
mind.
to be in the program. So I wanted to rely on my older member's mind 100%. So that wasn't like a brainwashing thing or not. I recognized him as being my teacher because of a previous relationship that my soul had with him. And that's the way everybody pretty much is that comes to this information is because of a previous relationship with Doe in a previous incarnation.
Right.
And so for him to not want to just use his older member's mind in following all the procedures
It's exactly what Lucifer did.
was indicating that he wanted to trust his own mind.
It's exactly what Lucifer did.
Lucifer did that. It's a trick that the Luciferians play on people.
Why he was kicked out.
Especially people that have a lot of intelligence, human intelligence. They are very susceptible to trusting their own judgment about things. And they have to get rid of that if they're going to graduate into a next level membership, because next level members do not need people to tell them how to do things. They know how to do things. So they want people that are willing to be sponges for the way they want to do things so that they can become instruments, individuals.
Look how pretty this is.
With their own free will, performing tasks that are intricate tasks, difficult tasks, challenging tasks, rewarding tasks.
Service.
Not to become robots. There's no robots in the next level that are living.
Yeah, I was going to say, now don't say that, because...
That are living. They're living. They said they can make robots to go places, to do things.
Like maybe
where,
the sun.
Yes, where vehicles would die if they went to those places and did those things.
So I have one moment of brightness and happiness by getting my gel pens out because I'm about to start coloring, but look how pretty this is. I love coloring. I know that's not any, whatever.
It's
Look
okay.
at all the refill.
Rise Above says they are absolutely targeting you guys specifically.
Yep.
There is something they fear about you guys. So
And Carlotti, too.
They go to what they know and bully with malicious lawsuits. Stand strong in knowing you are right. Thank you, Rise Above. Appreciate that.
We don't even
We don't want to be right.
But yeah, it's not
we want
about
to do
being
right.
It's like serving the next level and doing what we're tasked to do. Like,
right, but I know where you're coming from.
yeah, absolutely.
Harm says, I'm so mad at MNS right now. Who do they think they are, trying to destroy you because you're playing some tapes?
Exactly.
Maybe I should upload some tapes on my YouTube channel. Well, we're not going to tell you what to do,
yeah.
but, you know.
Like, we had kind of, like, that's what Sawyer had been saying before, like, everybody freaking upload everything, and let's see how much money they have and how many people they can sue.
Yeah, but I'm not going to encourage anybody to do that now because they'll use that against me as another count, and
Right.
I just don't want to. I don't want to be, hitting the beast on the head.
That was something
That's
else
going to trying to bite me to
one
death.
Of the questions that we had was, can they add to the lawsuit? Like, can they add more counts as this proceeds? Like,
yeah, we don't know if they can do that.
We don't know because we're not freaking lawyers.
Right. So we don't want to. So we're trying to get out of the firing squad so much, and we also want to show the judge that we do want to cooperate.
Yeah, that's why we took everything down.
Right, but we want to.
We're not going to sell the shirts anymore.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not gonna. We have to play with the human system that exists, whether we believe in it or not. Like Jesus even taught that find agreement with your adversary while you're in the way with them, and otherwise you might end up before the judge and then be in jail. Well, in this case, we have to be willing to even go to jail for standing up for T&O. But meanwhile, we're trying to, like Kathy stimulated us going to talk with them, our adversary.
I was so stupid.
No, but it was good that we did that. It wasn't stupid. You were not stupid. You were doing exactly what I believe T&O wanted us to do, to give them another chance to make the right choices and to show us exactly what they weren't going to allow us to do, and to help us decide that whether we were going to face that or we were going to run away from it. And we're not running away from it. We did a little bit run away from it, a little bit, for a short period of time. But then it got to the point to where we knew that we couldn't.
Yeah, I convinced him not to play audios. So, for good faith, so we could get permission from them. Because that's all they seem to care about, is just getting permission from them.
Right.
They don't care about the
They want to be the trail bosses.
They don't care about anything. They just
trail
care about
bosses.
Being the control.
That was what they were faulted with. Doe actually put a muted Mark because he was becoming a trail boss in the group. And so he wasn't allowed to give his opinion. And that probably stimulated rage within his vehicle with the influences that wanted to be the boss because they believed in their opinions so well. And so to where he was then bucking instructions to change partnerships from Sarah, and didn't want to say that he was wrong about some of the decisions he was making. And so that brought it to a head, and to where Doe, said, well, I guess you have to leave. And you can come back if you want to follow all the procedures. And he never wanted to come back when they were given the option to. I'm not saying I didn't have my own lessons in that regard too, but this is a different lesson that he's got. And it's actually keeping people from the information and even putting out misinformation. That, is a pretty grave sin because of how you're influencing other people.
They've turned so many people away that have asked for information. They've turned so many people away. They told me there was nothing to do except for wait. I was like, how could you, if you believe this information, how could you keep it to yourself? Why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to save everybody on this planet potentially? How could you not want to talk about T&O?
RTT says there's no way they'll win this. You've got this.
I hope you're right.
Well, for us, winning is standing up for the truth. That's why I put this little document in here. Let Tiando's truth be heard by all. Tiando always said after they left the lower forces, the space alien groups who have been controlling humans in degrees for millennium would be allowed by the true evolutionary kingdom next level above human to further exercise more and more control to keep the truth on all levels from being available and to limit the freedoms many have enjoyed for a time. The lower forces are using all humans they can to stop the flow of truth, even thinking they are working for the common good and or for God in whatever their interpretation is. There is censorship increasing since 2020 especially, that we are being directly affected by. And I put more of what I had to say about it in the description of this.
We've barely been able to sleep.
We got good sleep last
We've
night.
been eating a lot.
Rise Above says, yes, they only share with those who can pay. Well, I mean, they are supporting the website. So that is sharing a lot.
I feel like that's the bare minimum, though.
Right. But I just want to, I want to give them credit where credit is
I
due.
don't want to give them any more credit after what they've done.
Yeah.
I know.
I understand.
I am so upset with myself for letting my influence, like I thought some really horrible things about Mark and Sarah. And we got in a fight today in the car because he killed a bug in the car. I don't wish harm on anything.
Well, don't go any further with that, okay, please?
You shouldn't have
Okay.
killed that bug.
Zachary Clark. Yeah, I know. I didn't have to kill the bug.
You could have just
I'm just in the habit of when there's a bug inside the car, I squash it.
You could have rolled the window down.
Tiendo called that accelerating the bug. They weren't against killing the bugs, but doesn't mean they would go out of their way necessarily to kill bugs that weren't bothering them. They weren't like on, with the going, people can get crazy with that.
I had a spider hanging down in front of my face, and I pulled the car over and ushered him out of the vehicle. And he was a creepy spider, too. He had bad intentions.
No, I might have done that. Sometimes I might do that, but other times...
Hopefully it didn't get squashed by a car, but it wasn't my
right.
doing. I let him out.
I mean,
he was creepy.
So we didn't have a fight about that.
I was really upset.
You
hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry, I'm a bad person.
You're a murderer.
I'm a murderer. I'm a murderer as I breathe, right?
It was so tiny.
I shouldn't be breathing anymore because the microbes are being killed when I breathe.
That's right. There was a tiny little green translucent little flitter by, and it just went. I was like, no! That could have been dough.
That could have been dough. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, what are we going to do?
I'm going to shut the door before the bugs start flying in now, though.
Really?
Because I don't want them in the house. I'm not, that friendly. I just hate to see life extinguished when there's another option. I have a hard time eating, too.
Zachary, she does not.
I mean, as far as, we were talking about plants and, that's murdering. Well,
Yeah, but you wouldn't be eating anything if you were considering plants murdering.
I'd be a breatharian, all right?
You wouldn't even be a breatharian because the air has things in it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It has microbes. Little bugs.
Really?
Yes.
I know there's little bugs that live on our face and stuff.
Bacteria
I'm fine with them. They eat stuff.
and viruses and particles and
viruses.
yeah, I mean it's natural to have all that around us all the time. Breathing it in and the immune system takes care of it.
Breathing it
If your immune system is decent. But then if it accumulates and you don't have a decent immune system, then it can make you sick, and then your body heats up, has a fever, and gets rid of the mucus and all the toxins with it. And so, anyway, Zachary Clark says, I hope you win your case. You have an absolute right to share your information via the First Amendment. This situation sounds ridiculous. Yes, it does, Zachary Clark says.
Amendment.
Daniel Mills says, Mark and Sarah sit on their rear ends and do absolutely nothing to spread TNO's information. Well, we don't know what they do in their private life, but we haven't seen them do anything public besides
We got a good
host the
idea
website.
that they've been spending a lot of time persecuting us.
Yeah.
And getting all this ready.
Scat Addock says,
Oh, that's a new one.
Adcock, he says, it's becoming clear.
Scott. You said scat. I was like, but no, hey, Scott.
The Tila Foundation have motives that aren't pure and is self-serving only. I'm afraid to say it seems that way. Harm says, maybe this is your chance, Sawyer. Together with Kathy, you can fight them and win this. We're, going to try to take it to whatever degree it can go. If it means making this into a national story.
That's absolutely what we're going to do. As soon as we get out of this place, which is going to be very, very shortly,
right.
We are blowing this up for any media outlet that will listen and come talk to us.
Now, that's not going to be popular.
We're here.
Because the more we talk about this, the more people become against us. So it's not like a good thing to do
that's
for
why
our
we have to
humanness.
get out of this house.
That's why we have to be out of this house and not be able to be found easily.
Literally in days. We're not going to be here, and neither is my daughter. My stuff's going to be here until I can get it moved out, but we're gone. It's probably the last time we're live streaming in front of this background.
Daniel says, Mill says, Mark and Sarah equal the FBI. Well, I don't think so. Not legitimately.
Supposedly they called the FBI on Carlotti.
Well, maybe they did. I don't know about that, but there was a rumor that the CIA had a program with the MK Ultra program. Was the Heaven's Gate was part of that. It was a mind control program, and there's no truth to that.
Right, Jim Jones and the People's Temple was.
I don't know if they were or not.
No, I'm just saying they were lumped in with that as well, and, and Charles Manson and
with MK Ultra.
Even the whole counterculture movement, which super interesting. The last tape that we played on the live stream, which is no longer available, was Doe talking about a book that he was reading by a fellow named Kyle Griffith. And it's available for download on the internet. It's called War in Heaven by Kyle Griffith. Griffith. There might be 2 F's in there. Super interesting book. I printed it out. I downloaded it and then printed it out because I like to read actual papers. But
physical copies of it.
Right, yeah, it's easier for my eyes and stuff. But it is 2 F's. Griffith. Copyright 1988 and then 2006. I wonder if this fellow is still alive. But right now, and Sawyer and I had talking about this. There's no bibliography, which is really frustrating. Because he brings up all kinds of different authors and stuff. That's what these tabs are.
I see.
But it's a channeled book. And he's talking about basically 2 different alien groups. And the alien group that he's working for, he believes has the same interest as he had throughout his life. But he is talking about how alien groups were telepathically communicating with humans and basically guiding the civilization towards different things, like the 60s movement, and how what I just read, it's really fascinating stuff. I highly recommend getting it. which, like I said, it's available for download. Just put in, I went to Amazon first, and it's for like $380. So I was like, no. And then I think on Amazon it says see other buying options, and I clicked on that, and it took me to the downloadable form of it on another website. He talks about how these alien groups were basically talking to people and guiding the population towards certain things, like to take LSD. And so while you were on acid, they were literally programming us. Super interesting. Yeah. By this time, this is reading from this book, War in Heaven. By this time, I had enough conscious control over my psychic powers to perceive directly that an outside agency was telepathically communicating with people who took LSD and was reprogramming their minds. He talks about how he would hear certain phrases that was like common in the 60s, like, love everybody, even the pigs, which is how people referred to cops, which I think they still do. Talking about the Beatles and certain lyrics in songs, and how he was telepathically receiving this stuff, and then he would hear it months before, and then he would hear it in a song. So he was thinking that there were messages about peace, sexual freedom, equality for women and minorities, occultism and experimentation with non-Christian religious systems, general hostility toward the establishment, etc. It was just super interesting, like, to hear this guy's viewpoint of, like, literally alien forces telepathically communicating with humans to guide our civilization towards their own means, to whatever they want to happen here on this planet. I thought it was very, very interesting.
And though, I think, if I remember correctly, in one of the audio tapes where he was talking about this
right,
book,
it was the last one that we listened to,
right,
724.
Was saying that he wasn't saying that everything in this book is accurate,
right?
But he was saying there were a lot of things in it that were very interesting, and he was talking about how different space alien groups were potentially working for headquarters, the next level headquarters, that didn't know they were working for headquarters, and were even, like the Luciferians, were working against headquarters unknowingly and or knowingly, and then other groups were potentially working in a positive way for headquarters unknowingly, and so
super interesting.
So let's say the next level wanted to prepare people to have certain freedoms, to put the ideas out to have certain freedoms, and to allow people, like, for instance, look at the way freedoms are being curtailed for a long time. That, like, a woman couldn't have a legal abortion. She couldn't have a legal.
We couldn't even have jobs.
A safe way of having an abortion.
We barely even have jobs.
Right, couldn't have jobs. It was okay
for your husband to smack you down and beat the shit out of you if you talked out of turn.
Right, like equal rights for people of different races, different ethnic groups, different, genders, and sexual orientations.
Sexuality, yeah.
All those things were opportunities to be human, to get into, and all these things have ramifications, okay? And they all you have to get out of all of them in order to graduate into next level membership. But on the path to graduation, experiencing everything we want to experience is part of the program. And so when the humans are trying to keep people from having experiences, keep them from having options and choices. That's a lower. That's the
Another
Luciferian
right?
alien group that's doing most of that. But that doesn't mean that that group doesn't have some next level things to also offer. But so the alien groups are against each other a lot of times,
Yeah.
and you'll see them even in the political parties. Like one alien group supporting the Democrats, another alien group supporting the Republicans, another alien group promoting the independents. And different countries are like that too. One alien group supporting the Chinese, and the other one the Americans.
Well, it's interesting because this was, the first copyright's 1988, but the Kyle Griffith came up in the 60s, right? And so he's talking a lot about the counter-revolutionary movement and communist and fascist because that, the red move, the red thing, like communists take over America, the Vietnam War, and how he talks about the 60s, and he's about to go into the 80s, but his perspective, what he's been given by his spirit guides that he's channeled, which I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet, what their message was to him. Doe said that this book would unscrew your head and we'd need to screw it back on, right? And I am somewhat starting to understand. I'm just keeping it in the context of what I know of next level information, but it's just super interesting, this guy's perspective on the 60s and the 70s, and now moving into the 80s, how these alien groups have influenced people to, think for ourselves or, not go with the establishment or, women, women's equality, racial equality.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, I can't wait to get to the part where he's talking about the 2000s. And I don't know if he addresses Heaven's Gate in this or not, because it's 2006, and Doe would have read the 1988 version of it, obviously.
Right.
So I'm super curious, but he's talking about how as far as the LSD, but I want to just read.
Well, it's interesting that. Go ahead.
That people were being influenced to. I just had it in front of me.
Well, it was interesting that
Here it is. Hold on. Sorry. My ex, that they were telepathically communicating with people who took LSD and were reprogramming their minds. My explanation for the phenomenon at the time was that the collective telepathic emanations, yeah,
I think.
From hundreds or thousands of people taking LSD simultaneously sent messages to everyone else and guided their trips. I also found that I could receive these psychic messages even when I wasn't on drugs, just by assuming the right kind of trance state. The content of the telepathic messages was the usual ideology of the 60s movement as reported in the underground press. Peace now, love everybody, even the pigs, expand your consciousness, etc. There were also hundreds of phrases from popular song lyrics by Bob Dylan, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Donovan, Tim Buckley, Simon and Garfunkel, and many more. Often I'd receive a phrase telepathically months before I heard it in a song and speculate that the songwriter had gotten it by the same means and from the same source. Many people in the counterculture believed that some of these people, especially Bob Dylan, were fully conscious of what was going on and had a complete understanding of what all these cryptic phrases meant, but my own telepathic experiences made me doubt this. I was reasonably certain they received the same tantalizing fragments of telepathic information I received and had no more understanding of them than I did. Numerous passages in the song lyrics themselves could be interpreted as saying this. If what I was overhearing was really just a consensus of the thoughts of the people on LSD at that time, The messages were exactly what I expected they would be, in a general sense, but there was also something rather odd about them. I naturally expected the random thoughts of a bunch of stone hippies to be extremely diverse and incoherent, and to contain a wide variety of different emotions and images. Instead, what I received seemed quite simple, clear, and well controlled. I had no idea who was sending those telepathic messages, but whoever they were extremely anarchist. They urged people not to follow leaders at all, but to learn everything by personal experimentation and become masters of their own fate. Even though I've always lived my own life by this philosophy, I felt uneasy receiving these messages, because there were so many immature and irresponsible people in the 60s movement. I was afraid that the policy of do your own thing and don't follow leaders, become a leader yourself, would keep the movement from developing enough political organization to make significant reforms in society. However, the unseen forces who were influencing minds by telepathy seemed to oppose completely the idea of injecting formal political structure into the movement. People kept saying, we've got to get it together, but this proved completely impossible. The telepathic manipulators countered by sending, we don't need to get it together. It already is together. No one could figure out exactly what this was supposed to mean, but it sounded reassuring. Besides, by the time this message was sent, the movement was dying out anyway, and few people were expecting immediate revolution, political or spiritual, anymore. He goes on to talk about how that prepared people for opening their minds, opening their consciousness, universal consciousness, utopia, yada, yada, yada. The 60s movement moved into the 70s, where people started using even more drugs and becoming more addicted and going into harder things. And I'm curious what he says about the 80s and the 90s and then the 2000s. It really feels like there's a trajectory. Like, look at where people are at right now and how hopeless everything seems to be. Super interesting. I highly recommend this book. I'm so glad that the last tape we listened to, Doe brought it up.
Yeah, and there's so much in what Kathy was reading that we're clicking things that T and Doe said.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, it's amazing, actually, because...
So, the book, again, is The War in Heaven by Kyle Griffith. Griffith. I really got to look up this guy and see if he's still alive.
Like some examples in the book that T and Doe started to write in 1973 when they were first awakening, T wrote that the 60s movement and the use of drugs was an awakening time. Then a year later, she edited that book and crossed that off. So to me, that was like an indication that there was an alien group putting those thoughts out. Now, Doe also said a number of times that alien groups were beaming thoughts down to humans. And they even gave the example of that movie, They Live.
Yeah, we got to get that.
Yeah, that shows, that...
Okay, Chunk, I'll take
that perspective.
Let me get
and so that's another thing that came up. And then also, T and Doe both talked about how members of the class their task was to deposit thoughts. In other words, the souls that were coming back from a previous time of being with the older members, incarnate. When they lost those vehicles, then they came back with the older members the next time the older members were planning to come back and to take over those vehicles, to be in the classroom for their next lesson steps. One of their tasks was to deposit thoughts into the human kingdom to help humans evolve. And so we were actually talking about, and we were writing, they gave us instructions to write a book of all the things we were learning, so that those thoughts would be sent out to our genetic strain of humans that were on the same strain, growing in their own ways in the grades in school of the human kingdom. so that they could be upgraded according to the teachings of the older members with the class of those that were approaching graduation time. So that's the telepathic nature of the Next Levels program here. And that's so they can be using the space aliens to have their own agenda. Now, the other part of it that was really interesting was how Kyle Griffith was talking about how, there was this like change the world kind of things. Everybody needs to come together. Now, after I left the classroom, I ended up playing music, starting to play music again. And I remember I was in a little tiny festival that was happening, and it was my turn. I had a slot to play the drums and sing, or whatever, play the flute, whatever I wanted to do. And so I remember saying to people that were in the audience, we can come together and work as one people. And I remember saying that several times, that we can do this. We can come together and work as one people. And that was totally off track. Because the Next Level doesn't want us to work as one people. They want us to evolve beyond humanness. Well, in other words, there wasn't supposed to be peace on Earth. Peace was the way that we acted towards one another. But the whole garden was developed to be difficult and to have differences that we could overcome giving into. So it doesn't mean that we were meant to be at war with one another. No, we weren't meant to do any of that. But we were meant to not think that humans can fix it. Because humans cannot fix it. Because the Luciferian space aliens were put on this planet to present the option of being against the Next Level in all of the ways that you can be against the Next Level, in choices and everything, behaviors and ways, and so that we could then be given the true information of how to evolve beyond into a peaceful society, which is only taking place in the Next Level. So they give us this as a training ground. It's like the holodeck on Star Trek. And it's biological. It's a biological holodeck. And physical.
I just took her out and she went number 1, but she didn't go number 2. She did. And then I gave her one of the treats and then half of the butt stuff. Sorry, that sounded weird.
So all the people, she was talking about the dog medicine. So I was picturing some of what Kathy was reading there from Kyle Griffith as the way that people were saying that everything can be fixed if we just allowed it to happen, if we just let it be, so to speak. Let it be, like Paul McCartney was singing. And you see that same movement
right.
in the spirituality where they say that everybody is God. And that the only thing that separates us from being gods ourselves is not thinking that we are.
Jonathan is asking in the Facebook.
So that was just some of the thoughts that I've had about all that.
Yeah, I've told him that he should read this, and he's like, "No, you go ahead and do it, and then report back." So
yeah, so I'm glad
to
hear
really
it.
good, though. I think
really
you'll
good.
really like it.
So
we just have so much going on.
Yeah, I got my hands full. I don't know how to fit it in. Kathy's amazing the way that she reads, gets into things and reads them, and it's great. It's great to have that help and partnership. Hey guys, what are you talking about today? We're talking about that. We were actually sued.
Yeah, I think.
And then Jonathan says, "How's your day?" Well, it's okay, but it's been. We've had a lot of ups and downs with being sued, Is there more video footage of T and Doe available soon? Not that we know about. Mark and Sarah may have stuff, but they're not letting anybody else have it. And I don't know if that's going to come anytime soon. But if we can get it, we would like to get it and share it with people. Is that a certified court letter? Yes, it is.
It was handed to us by a sheriff, off-duty cop.
I see Mark Anthony Winsfield is there. I'm here, 2 and 1.
Hey.
Oh, that's the other
hey,
name that he has.
MW1.
So,
Good to see you. And I know we've been MIA for quite a while because we've been waiting until we're ready to get out of the house because we knew by putting this document up that even though I blacked out names,
MW1 Online says, thought you were gone forever.
no, we won't be. We just had to make sure
Yeah.
that we're secure.
That's why we put that video out. I know we were doing a lot of live streams for a while, but we had to take a break.
Well, we only took a break because we're getting sued and we didn't quite know how to
Talk
approach
about
that. And plus, we knew that anybody can go look this case up and see our personal information and where we live, which we're not going to be here past this week. Yeah. Actually, by probably Tuesday, we're going to be not living here anymore. So that's going to be fun.
Okay, so Mitchell says, that link is for a digital copy of the book. Copyright states it's okay to download, reproduce.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
that's one of the counts against us is sharing the book. So, yeah.
Right. MW1 Online. Okay, and then Matthew says, Bittencourt says, Adam Weintraub is right.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that because,
Abraham Weintraub is right.
well, there's Adam Weishaupt, who was the head of the
Traub. This is Weintraub.
Bavarian Illuminati, which is what started, supposedly, the Illuminati.
That's the same person?
Well, no, I thought you said Adam Weishaupt.
Well, that's funny that I said it that way, I guess.
Right, because,
What he wrote was Abraham Weintraub.
I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either. People want to hear, MW1 Online says, people want to hear from you, even at the bottom, besides self, Wart.
Yeah, we just didn't want to have our address out
Besides
there just yet.
self-worth, okay.
Until we were prepared to get out of here and have my daughter secure.
RTT says, I believe it. I had psychic experiences on Lucy before. That was ages ago. Yep.
Yeah, I've been having, I've like, since I've been with Sawyer and he showed me some things and made me come to understand, like, we don't talk to dead people. Like, that's not a positive thing, even though they may seem friendly. They may present a certain way, and they may help. They're lower forces. They're discarnates. They're not nice people. We don't do business with them. We do business with the next level and with members of the next level and with our older members.
I just want to say, in terms of being nice people, it's not, I don't think it's a matter of nice or not, right? I mean, some of them can be helpful to you.
Yeah, I feel like they were very helpful, like, to me in a lot of instances. Unfortunately, I've opened myself up a little bit more because, like I said, I was thinking bad thoughts. And I identified as a witch before. And I've done things in the past, and I just was having thoughts, and, but in doing that, in just over the past couple of days, like, I've been shown a lot of things, I've been seeing a lot of things that I don't want to see, and I don't want to participate in.
Because there's a lot of ugliness stuff, in the lower forces.
So we have to be really, really careful.
All I was trying to say was that I believe Tiendo talked about how there are discarnates that when they die, let's say they thought they were taking care of their grandbaby or something, and then they died and they stayed with that grandchild,
As
trying
their
to help that
guardian
grandchild
angel.
like a guardian angel. That can be something that they do. So they're not like all evil in the context of trying to keep people away from the next level. That's the only real evil that there is, I think. And well, killing people, of course, is evil too.
Or
But
influencing people to do
or
bad things.
harm other people, yeah, and wishing harm on people and stuff like that. It's not none of that's any good.
Yeah, it's not good. Like, I won't even, like, I get upset with a little translucent green flittery getting squashed, but I was thinking really negative things, and that's not from my mind. It's not how I'm supposed to be comporting myself.
RTT says, I believe it. I read that already. Stephen Contrell says, also from hashmark Zen Room, I am not a vehicle. I am me.
Well, what's you?
Right. Well,
Are you
it's
only your
true.
body?
None of us are vehicles, actually. We're all a composite of influences, discarnates, that we've agreed to let use our vehicle. And we become then the combination of everything we've agreed to be. Think, say, do. And that includes next level mind that we agree to be the instruments of thinking, saying, and doing. And that goes to the genetics that we were given of the mind. It's all a matter of different three kinds of mind: genetic mind, and mind from when we're beginning to be human vehicles, and next level mind that all become influences on us. And what our choices are is what we become. So we're not the vehicle. None of us is a vehicle.
Right.
Soul Calibur, what was Doe's last words before he passed? I don't know. I wasn't there.
Well, only Jan Odie and Liv Odie know that.
Yeah. Bork Sinisky, came in and then retracted this, whatever he said, or she said, or they said. Christian Burwell says, hello guys, nice to finally catch you live. Well, glad to have you, Christian Burwell. He says, do you think there are more levels past the next level?
Nope.
No. I mean, they talked in terms of being stratas of next level vehicles. In other words, so that you can keep on advancing in the type of vehicle that you have, or more than one vehicle. That are physical vehicles that can have more and more facilities to do tasks that humans don't have even, can't even conceptualize the amount of things that can happen in the next level. But they're the ones that created the planets and Earth and all the Earth's inhabitants, the systems of creation. They were behind. They are behind.
They are the creators of creators.
And there's the chief of chiefs, but
He's the creator of creators.
we're not going to understand where the chief of chiefs came from until we're members of the next level, because our brains aren't capable.
And we don't need to know.
Right. Harm says, you should have all the rights. You are the only ones I know who are sharing the real truth. Good luck, guys. You got my back.
I've got your back. Thank you. And Carloti,
Wherever I can.
Carloti has been instrumental in getting the information out as well.
Yes, he has.
We're not the only ones. And Wanodi, too.
And Wanodi has also. Yes, that's right. Don't give up. Good night, says
Good
Harm.
night, Harm.
Good
Thank
night.
you for tuning in. I'm glad you got the shirts.
Yes, Christian says, very
You're
interesting.
the last person to get a shirt from us, actually.
Yeah, we still have the shirts that have a picture of Tiendo on them. They're legal at
Yes.
this point. They're not being challenged. Everything's legal, but we have to. We're trying to abide by the copyright so we don't get our channel taken down. But if we make some new shirts, we're going to use different images so that they're not copyrighted.
Which is what we talked about doing before. We were just lazy.
Yeah, but we were hoping that they wouldn't make a big deal of it.
Yeah, we wanted to use exactly what the class had put out.
Yeah,
so
that
there
was
no mistranslation. There was no, coming through our minds and onto a T-shirt or whatever. Like, we wanted exactly what the class left behind. But Mark and Sarah are forcing us to play telephone and filter it through our minds and then create something, because they won't let us use what the class used because we're not exactly sure why.
The MW1 online says, can other religions become next level? Well, a religion can't become next level. Only individuals can become a member of the next level. So the religions are all off track now. It doesn't mean that a person that became part of a religion can't take that pathway and then grow beyond that religion to start to look for more of the truth that religion doesn't offer. And if they do that, they will end up getting in touch with Tiendo's information, because the next level will make sure that that individual that has that thirst comes to be faced with the truth, like the way that people have been faced with the Heaven's Gate group repeatedly. That's an example of that. Christian says that's a good question, MW1.
I thought, that's a really good question. I like it. What did I do with the other one? Damn it.
All right, that's about it in the chat.
What time is it?
It's 10:35, and I'd be ready to. Well, actually, a little bit of what Kathy said before.
Oh, excuse me.
About how, in a sense, by Mark and Sarah insisting that they're going to sue us, and because we used the trademark of, among other things, of the older member picture, that the pictures on our screen right now are pictures that were made that were not copyrighted or trademarked, so we can legally use those. But they by using the other one that was trademarked by them, they were, preventing us from using that picture when we want to use the exact things that we were given. Now, Kathy just said that. But take that one step further, which I think Kathy was also implying, was like playing the audio tapes. We'd much rather play an audio tape of Doe talking about everything than try to tell you what Doe said about it. Because inevitably, we're going to get some things that we're not going to say nearly as well as Doe says it. But, so they think they're trying to accomplish something positive by protecting the information, but by having nobody have access to it, and then forcing us to only provide the information through our computers, through our brains.
Right, after it's filtered through.
Not that we're going to do a bad job with that necessarily. Sometimes we can be helpful in ways that, because Doe knew that you could say things in different ways, and different computers can hear it in different ways. And
right, just like when he sent you guys out.
Yeah, like when he sent us out to talk to the public, he didn't give us a script. He said, this is the information. You express it in your own way. And he didn't want us to like make up stuff. And we don't want to make up stuff.
No.
That's why whenever I'm talking, it's great to have Kathy, who has studied the information recently more than I have, say, oh, I remember Doe talking about that, and then read from the book.
Which apparently we can't do.
Yeah, which they're complaining about, that too. They put everything under the sun in there that we were doing as being something wrong. That, they're going to make us pay for with money.
Triple.
Yeah. They want us to,
Triple the punitive
they want to make it so hard for us to do this, and they want a judge to order us that we can't talk about this anymore.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Can you imagine that? That's the Catholic Church over the Dead Sea Scrolls, and a lot of other stuff. That they were persecuting people. It's the same kind of persecution. And that was done because the lower forces don't want the truth out. Period. That's the reason for it. And they don't recognize that they're even in that mode. The people in the Catholic Church during the,
The Inquisition?
The Inquisition thought they were working for God.
By torturing people.
By torturing people and banishing people from towns and
Burning
burning them
witches.
at the stake for reading the Bible when they weren't part of the clergy.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine that? And the same thing is happening now. But fortunately, we're hopefully more civilized now,
Right.
so that it's not going to come to that.
Yeah.
Doe didn't think it was going to come to that kind of a
Get
torture
thrown in
thing.
jail.
But we're being tortured mentally. And believe me, it is torture
Yeah.
to have to deal with this kind of stuff. It's so illogical from any kind of perspective besides the human perspective of thinking that they are the overlords of the material.
Even though they were never tasked with that.
No. They were tasked to simply divide the tapes among the
Get this
people
stuff out of storage.
that wanted to disseminate the information.
Yep.
And post the website and pay for it. And, sell the books, publish the book, put it in the Library of Congress, and then sell it and distribute the information. So that was a big task. And they did a little bit of that, and then they got off track.
They got off track with the San Diego County putting a lock on the storage because they didn't do their first instruction that they were told to do, which was go to the storage and get everything out of it. Instead, they sent other people to do that. And Riccoti and Oscoti, who got spooked and only, according to Mark and Sarah, grabbed one box of tapes.
Which seems to be true.
I believe Carlotti has a different...
Well, there's more than one box?
Right.
Well, it might have been more than one box.
That's why I
fine.
asked Mark.
Yeah,
you
because
know.
I find it hard to believe that there was 486 tapes in one box unless...
Yeah, I don't think that...
Well, see, we had those tape boxes that were about the size of
Yeah, I remember seeing
half a
them.
laptop, but thicker,
Yeah.
so that you could fit about 20 audio tapes in it. Now, I don't know if they had the same boxes, but they were like silver. They were nice boxes.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in the meeting for the Chicago thing
Oh, really?
when they were packing up.
Oh,
And
cool.
Neody was asking if they should get more tapes.
Oh, I remember at the back of the van.
Yep.
Oh. Well, those would be on human tapes, maybe. I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they were... Oh, yeah, that's right, because it was for recording.
Yeah, those weren't the audio tapes. 'cause
But
I don't
those
think we
were, like, I think, similar boxes.
No.
Probably bigger.
They weren't the same kind of boxes, but it doesn't matter. They're like boxes I have for my microphone downstairs. I could show it to you. But they each held about no more than probably 20 tapes. Oh, audio tapes, little cassettes, the 60-minute, 90-minute, most of them were 90-minute tapes. We had some 120s too, but they were too thin, so they didn't, they got stretched too easily by replaying them. And so it would be distorted. But so we ended up with the 90s most of the time. And so we had a whole bunch of those, over a dozen of them when I was still in the class, or maybe more than that. And we had those boxes inside of bigger boxes like apple boxes or banana boxes.
I love banana boxes.
Yeah, and we had egg boxes.
We're
We used
using
them
many.
too.
Oh yeah, I never used egg boxes.
Yeah, we had those kind of boxes too. And
Surrounded by banana boxes.
yeah, so we had those kind of boxes. So I don't know if he grabbed one of those and it still seems like fitting, 486 tapes
The
in
accounts
one
just
box
don't seem
seems
to
a little
match
bit
up.
difficult.
They've
but
been lying to us since
I guess
day
it's possible.
one.
Yeah,
So why would we believe anything they say as far as we have every single thing copyrighted? Like, no, you actually don't. And you provided us the proof that you don't now.
right,
Which we're going to provide to all of you.
right.
Something that Mark has kept hidden. Mark and Sarah both have kept hidden for all these years because they don't want to show anybody that. We're going to show all of you.
Because then what would they be forced to do if they didn't have all these tapes copyrighted? They'd have to copyright them all. And I think that would cost quite a bit of money. I could be wrong about that because I don't know why they wouldn't have done that. They had
do your guys' research. If anybody feels inclined to, go to the Library of Congress.
TILA Foundation.
And
or
look
Right to
for
Know.
The TILA Foundation and the Right to Know, because Riccoti copyrighted some of them too. So how can there be two copyrights over the same material?
Right. That's a question we still have to answer.
Yeah.
Unless one was preceding the
Prior,
other.
right. I believe
Yeah.
Riccoti did it after, but he shouldn't have been able to do that if they already... There's
Unless
lots
he
of
did it for
questions.
218 tapes and they did it for them when they got the masters back.
I believe
Maybe
it's
they did it for all the tapes.
486. That's where I hit a wall with the Library of Congress. Was I actually emailed them and said I was trying to get to, do you have the physical copies of audios? Because we wanted to go and look at them and see which ones they were, so then we would not be in violation. I mean, that wasn't our whole purpose. We wanted to see what the hell they actually have copyrighted. Because
Right.
they wouldn't show us.
Right. And they still haven't. Even the exhibit that talks about that copyright of the...
Entire audio library
It
of
says
T&O.
that it's one deposit made of 486 tapes.
audios, but it doesn't list them out.
Right, it doesn't list them out. So we don't know if it's 1 through 10 and 50 through 100 and...
Who knows?
This one and this one and this one and that one.
And why didn't they do all 1,061 of them?
Right,
Which, according to Mark, that's how much there are.
right, which we have him on record for saying that.
Yep, we do.
So, so maybe this case will surface exactly what tapes they have copyrighted, and then we'll have to deal with that if they do actually have that. And we got some ideas about that too.
Yes, we do. We may not be lawyers, but we're also not idiots, and we're not run by the Luciferians like your lawyers are.
All right. So,
There's a couple comments.
okay, Christian Burwell, okay. Christian Burwell says, thanks guys, I'll have to rewind this after you are done. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we don't know how long we're going to keep it available for because they're using everything against us, so... I did call them fucking assholes, but I think that's, like, understandable. Because they are.
There's no law in saying that, I don't think. Is there?
I don't know. I was going to try not to talk a lot because I have a really hard time restraining myself, but...
MW1 says, good night, stay strong, thank you.
Thank you.
Christian says, Burwell says, I feel way out of the loop. This other group involved in the lawsuit are people you have known. Yes, it is a big story.
They can rewind it. We're exhausted.
Yeah, they're the individuals that are the webmasters of the Heaven's Gate website.
Yeah, we talked about it in prior of in this exact live stream. So,
Okay.
like they said, they'll rewind.
Harm says, maybe in the future you should build your own website. There you are free to speak at least. Well, yeah, we're still free to speak here for the most part. But yeah, you're right. We might be doing that someday soon.
We had talked about that before.
MW1 Online, you should design shirts of yourselves. Yes, we plan on doing that.
To.
Bork Sineski says, copyright is easily defrauded, that multiple people can claim ownership. Oh, is that right? Christian Burwell says, it's such a shame that all of these historically important tapes are being copyrighted in the first place. Where does the money go once any products are sold from either party? Well, nobody's selling them. That's part of the problem. There's no damages because they're not selling them and we're not selling them. So
yeah, we're just letting people hear them.
Yeah.
There's no charge. There's nothing.
Because we don't want money to be the reason why somebody doesn't have access to it.
Well, that's like charging people to read the Bible. It's just wrong.
Right. But, no, I wouldn't be against them coming up with a charge as long as they let us still give them away to people. See, that's the example is the Heaven's Gate book.
Well, they're charged for, like, I understand charging for a book, like charging for the Bible. Like, you had to print it out on paper.
Right.
You had to pay for the ink. You had to pay for the binding. You had to pay for the covers.
Right.
With the audios, we haven't had to pay for anything. There is no cost to any parties.
Right. It's just
There's
the digital.
There's no money exchanging hands. There's no need for money to exchange hands. I would not be okay with Mark and Sarah charging money to disperse the audios. That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, if they did it,
then that would be directly against the wishes of T and Doe.
well, I don't know of any instruction to not do that, but I know what you're saying. As long as it was also free, that's what I'm getting at. That, the Heaven's Gate book, they wanted it to be published in the Library of Congress. And I think they came up with the price. I'm not positive about that. So, I mean, like the Transfiguration Diet book we sold. It had a price on it.
Right, of course.
And there was a profit involved in it.
Recoup your
Yeah.
losses and profit. So the group was supported. And so you can make more copies.
Right.
Just like we're getting about...
But you don't need that with the digital library, right?
$7 to $10 profit on the shirts. And that was to make more shirts. But we only sold 10. And we ordered a lot more than that. So we're still in the hole. And apparently we're going to be in the hole because we just have to give the fucking things away now. Sorry for my language.
Hope to see more streams, even if it's just question and answer and no tapes. Love listening to your streams at night. Thank you, RTT.
Thank you. I hope you're doing well with your consumption.
Christian Burwell says, that makes perfect sense now. Oh, good. I'm glad we are able to clarify something. MW1, missed you all. Good night, says MW1 Online. Yeah, and I think with that, I'm ready to say good night.
Yeah, me too. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll actually sleep for more than 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, we did pretty good last night.
Yeah, I still woke up at 1.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's right, you told me that.
Couldn't get back to sleep until 3 and then woke back up at
Well, I probably snored away.
6.
Well, good night, folks.
Thank you guys for tuning in.